someone who has lived experience with this issue. Tony McAleer has been involved in an organization called Life After Hate since its inception in 2011. He served as the executive director from 2013 to 2017, while Life After Hate developed its online support groups and the Exit USA program. What they do is help people exit the white supremacist or extremist movements, both here in North America, but also around the world. He was their board chair until his departure in December 2019. Tony spent 15 years in the white supremacist and neo-Nazi movement, starting as a skinhead and evolving into leadership positions. He built one of the first white supremacist websites for an organization called Resistance Records in the mid-1990s. However, today, his experience that he gleaned from that, as well as from thousands of hours on one-on-one and group counseling, to better understand the process that he went through, has helped him to become a certified life coach in helping people to exit extremist movements and ideologies. Tony has worked closely with law enforcement and government, from attorney generals to their senior staff at the Department of Homeland Security in the United States. He testified before Congress and attended the Paris Summit for the Christchurch Call with the Prime Minister of New Zealand, as well as supporting government and law enforcement agencies. He's helping really to grapple with this issue of what's causing the rise of white supremacist groups and ideology, as well as what can work, what actually works to bring people out of that or to help protect them from falling into it. Tony is also the author of a fantastic book, and we highly encourage people interested in the subject to read it, called The Cure for Hate, a former white supremacist's journey from violent extremism to radical compassion. Thank you for joining us, Tony.
Thank you for having me. And I'd just like to, the previous speaker, many of the speakers, Evan included, that we cannot rely on government alone to solve this problem. It really is going to take everyone as individuals to step up and rise to this challenge. This is not going to be solved from inside our comfort zones. And we make a huge mistake if we rely on government alone to deal with that. And I think I come at this from a little bit of a different angle because of my own personal experience. And, and I think it's incredibly important that we call people out, but as a compassionate society, we need to call people in and where we can, try and engage people that find themselves in that dark space. And I'll just say really quickly, the three powerful components to that engagement are curiosity, compassion, and courage. Like I said, we don't solve this from inside our comfort zone. I'm not going to talk so much about that this evening. What I will talk about is, we've talked about a lot of the challenges. We've talked about a number of different things. And I just want to talk about some of the successes that have happened in the struggle to defeat this dark ideology. And we'll start with Charlottesville. Everyone remembers Charlottesville in 2017. And in the aftermath of Charlottesville, an organization was created by Roberta Kaplan called Integrity First America. Now, she was a lawyer. I think she was on the legal team that won the case for same-sex marriage in the United States. And she decided that she wanted to build a team, and they created a nonprofit to raise the money for the legal fight, because it was an extremely ambitious one, to go after all of the organizers for Charlottesville. And this represented a very novel and new, and like I said, ambitious endeavor in taking things to the legal front. Southern Poverty Law Center has been doing something similar for ages. They were the ones that sued, I think it was the United Klans of America. I remember the time back in the day when I was working with White Aryan Resistance and Tom Metzger. They sued him for $10 million. I used to spend time at Aryan Nations. They sued Aryan Nations in Idaho and was able to seize and liquidate their farms and the farm and the compound that they had there. And So the legal strategy that the Southern Poverty Law Center pioneered was to attack these sort of organizational entities one at a time and go after their assets. With Charlottesville, this was really the first time that they went after all of the organizers for an event. So, for example, it was the murder of Mulugata Sarah, an Ethiopian student by a skinhead or skinheads associated with Tom Metzger and White Aryan Resistance. That incident led to this lawsuit, which took a bite out of war. This time it was Charlottesville, and they went after everybody. They went after David Duke. They went after Richard Spencer, every organization that was involved and their leadership in this lawsuit. And happy to say that lawsuit was successful. And like I said, it was incredibly ambitious. And if you think of, in order to get that successful lawsuit, yes, they had a couple of default judgments along the way, but they had to assemble the team and to sift through all of the social media and all the different platforms and what they could find and in the darker reaches of Telegram and those other places where they think they're hidden, and sift through thousands and thousands. And the original trial was supposed to take place in 2020, and thankfully, because of COVID, it was delayed a year, which really allowed that research team to really dive deep and analyze and tie all of these groups and messages together with the goal of violence on that day. And they were able to successfully do that. Around the same time, there's a realtor who I had the opportunity to meet in Pittsburgh this last year, Tanya Gersh. Now, she was the realtor that sold Richard Spencer's mother's home. And as a result of her selling his home, there was a massive trolling of her by Richard Spencer, but primarily by Andrew Anglin. And for those who don't know who Andrew Anglin is, he is the creator of Der Stürmer, which is probably the most virulent anti-Semitic and racist website out there. In fact, they've lost their domain hosting umpteen times and moved it to internet hosting in smaller and smaller, more obscure countries as he continues to do what he did. She got a judgment against him for $14 million. In the Charlottesville case, depending on who they were in their involvement, some got a lesser judgment against them, some got a more severe judgment against them, but they all got judgments against them, which really disrupted their ability to operate above ground. Now, I know, having been in their shoes in dealing with the telephone line that I had that was the subject of 2 Canadian human rights complaints, the idea that it's almost like playing whack-a-mole happened. So were they able to collect on the money? No. And this is something that's going to have echoes, and when you think about it, it might ring a bell with regards to what happened in Ottawa, and that's the use of cryptocurrency. So Richard Anglin, some of these other people, they've gone underground. Nobody knows exactly where he is, and I'll use him as an example. All of them are in various different places, but they haven't been able to collect from Richard Anglin, and he's gone underground and has financed himself completely with cryptocurrency and Bitcoin, and is using that to evade payment, evade collection on this debt. And cryptocurrency for a while, as these movements are generally very anti-establishment, was an obvious choice for them to move to. And although it allows people to, I've owned Bitcoin and sold it and bought it and sold it since it was $25. So I followed Bitcoin for quite a while, and right at the beginning, as it allows people to have complete anonymity in their transactions, to transact in complete anonymity is very difficult. And what this means is that if you want to exchange money in any type of quantity, you almost have to go through an exchange. And in those exchanges is where cryptocurrency can be tracked. And I got a time to spend a little bit of time in Pittsburgh to talk with someone from FBI's crypto team. And I was actually blown away at what they were able to uncover using public and private sources of information overlaid on top of the publicly available information of the blockchain and Bitcoin. And they were able to identify these accounts, particularly when they came up for air for somewhere to do a transaction to get cash. So, again, the cryptocurrency piece became an important piece in the protests in Ottawa, semi-important piece, and it's certainly become an important piece with trying to track these people down and take their assets, whether that be Charlottesville or any of the other lawsuits. The good news is that the capabilities of people tracking the cryptocurrency wallets and these transactions is increasing. And I was actually, like I said, I was stunned at how much they were able to uncover in the wallets that they were able to take care of. When we look at the hackers that took down I think it was the Colonial Oil pipeline for a sizable amount of cryptocurrency, that money was able to be retrieved through the efforts of this team. And it's not easy it's easy to have crypto. It's not easy to convert it to cash. And within days of the Russian invasion of Ukraine, there was somebody in the United Emirates trying to sell $7 billion worth of crypto. And so they pop up from here. And so I just wanted to share this with you. It's more a technological side to this story and a legal side to this challenge that we're facing, but also sometimes I know these calls for listeners can be somewhat gloomy, and it's, oh my God, what are we ever going to do? And so I thought I wanted to bring something this year that on this very important date that was maybe a little bit of good news and some strategies and effective strategies going forward that we can look to. So that's what I have today.